children, animatronics, a whole lot of horror. To be completely honest, there are so many red herrings in this game, it's not even funny. We're putting Five Nights at Freddy's on the spot here. Hello, and welcome to a video about FNAF. I know a lot of people are going to be doing these videos, but I'm actually here to talk about a perspective that not everybody has. In fact, I'm talking from a programming perspective. And this is actually kind of interesting because Sister Location has finally given me enough pieces to validate a theory I had so long ago. I think it started back in FNAF 3. Yeah, it was FNAF 3 in which I actually had this theory. And that is that there is nothing wrong, no spiritual activity with these animatronics. And I think Sister Location, honestly, proved it right. So we're going to switch to some, I don't have FNAF. Maybe I should get FNAF and just like click around, get some looping gameplay. Ooh, it only $7? Should I buy it? It's downloading.
There's no doubting what you've achieved on a technical level. These are clearly state-of-the-art. There are just certain design choices that were made for these robots that we don't fully understand. We were hoping that you could shed some light on those.
Yes, I literally just bought this game to get footage. Alright guys, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to go straight to the theory, and the theory is that these animatronics were programmed to kill. Now you may be asking, well, how do we know this? And here's the funny thing, it doesn't even take any logic leaps to really go there. For one, we can confirm that Afton created Baby, and we can confirm that he made all of the features inside Baby. In this opening cinematic, we actually find out that he created them and that the people who built the bots were kind of curious. It's one of those things where it's like, it almost seems suspicious, and to me this was like that final little bit that I needed in order to confirm a theory I had a long time ago. Now, as we move on, we find out that Baby is self-aware, that she knows what she is, she knows what she's doing, and she remembers everything. And she starts to recount her story through a little Easter egg where you crawl through her vent when you weren't really supposed to. And she starts to recount her story. And when she does this, you find out some very chilling details. You find out how their protocol works, how their program works. And as someone who writes code, it makes so much more sense now than ghost children or weird paranormal activity or self-aware animatronics in their own right. You see, by Baby telling us that when one kid was there, only one, and it's only when one kid is around, she killed her. And it's one of those things that we even know who the victim was. We know that it was Afton's daughter. We know so much about the scenario that Baby actually not only tells us, but we see it in the mini game. And then if you go to the secret fake ending, there are dialogue bits that explain so much about it. It goes into detail on how all of a sudden Baby wasn't herself. She no longer was following the same lines of protocol. She entered a new realm of code, a realm of code where she just went nuts and killed someone, and she was made to do it is the worst part when there's only one. And it's one of those things where normally you would have to like make some leaps and bounds to confirm anything in FNAF. Back to the topic at hand. So we know that the animatronic was meant to kill, and we know it gets out because the real ending, it uses you as a human skin. So where does that leave everyone else? Where does that leave everything else? Well, conveniently, it actually makes the rest of the story make sense. You see, this thing got out. Afton created this machine to kill. This machine inevitably kills him and uses his body as essentially a puppet. And here's the thing. Human skin is fragile and not permanent. And even if the animatronic was capable of like hooking into organs and like pumping blood and all of that stuff, which I think it was due to its tube-based design, it still would have an expiration date on its body before it started to really, really smell. So here's where a little bit of logic is being leaped here. I'm saying that the animatronic essentially has to switch bodies every so often. And so it starts out as Afton. It somehow gets into the new Five Nights at Freddy's, and I want to say that it probably is Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and starts tinkering with the animatronics and starts reprogramming the animatronics, or maybe even a location before that. It starts to really mess with everything. It starts reprogramming things so that the animatronics will instantly kill when there's one person. And there is a bit of evidence to actually prove that the purple guy is really this thing that got out. One of the bits of evidence comes from the fact that the purple guy is for some reason living in one of the restaurants. In FNAF 3, we find out for a fact that purple guy is living in this boarded up, abandoned restaurant. Not eating, probably not sleeping. Essentially, he's in this room alone by himself. And it's very, very weird. It's one of those things that a normal human being probably would not want to be in this restaurant, avoiding the animatronics every single day to go out, get food, or even just to bring food back. Imagine trying to walk into that restaurant without getting blindsided by one of these animatronics. So as we go on through the FNAF story, we find out that this is happening a lot, and the security guards would be the perfect size, hypothetically, for the new host, as I guess would be the best way to put it, for this animatronic. And as life goes on with it, it essentially just kills a new security guard every so often. And it does so stealthily because you're looking out for the animatronics. You don't care about some random security guard coming into your room, probably. And so you're more worried about them than you are to it. And it keeps killing. It keeps satisfying this weird line of code created for some unknown sinister purpose. And the dead children aspect of it seems to be a fault almost in the code or even in Baby's programming. Because we find out that not only is Baby still supposedly hearing the little girl she crushed, but she's also able to mimic her voice. She starts doing it in the weird fake ending. And if this is true, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. If you randomly saw a grown man who's making, say, the same noise as a young girl, you'd question it. I mean, to be honest, you would really question Ennard's existence in general, but you would still question that a lot more than if someone sounded natural, maybe a little stiff and robotic, because people sometimes really are stiff and robotic. And so, essentially, the whole story revolves around, instead of a purple man, this animatronic, and that would explain why it's purple. You see, through the eyes of the animatronics, we know humans have pigment. So they see color, and Purple Man is distinctly purple. Maybe because Purple Man was never human. You see, they see humans one way, but maybe they knew that the Purple Man wasn't human. That would explain why he doesn't get attacked when he's alone. Because he's not one of us, he's one of them. And so it's a very interesting kind of like idea that the entire plot is moved by an animatronic in a human skin. Now, the final bit of evidence against Purple Man actually is interesting, because this would prove that Scott planned this out, which, again, seriously, man, if you did this, congrats to you. You see, if you remove the cowl on Springtrap, which supposedly has the insides of the Purple Man, you'll find that he doesn't have organs. He has these red tubes. It's almost as if he's constructed of an animatronic. If he's like a weird hybrid. And so, ironically, Ennard, if it really is Ennard that like took over your body, is the animatronic that becomes Purple Guy, that would mean that Ennard entered the body, and the body got trapped in an animatronic, and all's well and ends well, I guess. Now, the real questions that I'm hoping that, some theorists will answer, because I stuck really, really safe to the source material here, just kind of for a discussion purpose. I want to know why the puppet is actually the good guy. Why is the puppet so opposed to Ennard? I mean, we know for a fact that the puppet is purposely trying to sabotage him. But that, again, is a theory for another day. But we watch this this puppet, essentially, we watch it fight back a number of times. The whole dead children thing, like, Ennard obviously killed them, but then, or even the animatronics killed them. We don't know. But then why the heck would the puppet do the Give Life minigame? Why would he sabotage it so that it would have this haunting thing to it? And I think that the whole idea behind the dead children, honestly, like, it connects to everything as, like, the thing that went wrong. I think, honestly, the whole dead children aspect of everything was the one emotion they could feel, and that would be regret. And it's so weird to think that these machines might actually regret their actions, that they're being forced to. And Baby as much reflects this in her speech to the player, where she's kind of weirdly both monotone and at the same time scared and shocked. And it's one of those things where we know she can lie, we know she can do all these things, but in that one moment it seems like she might be telling the truth. And it's very unusual for that aspect. And it's so weird to think that this entire game was always you versus an animatronic. But either way, this is just some, I guess, food for thought to think about when you're crafting your FNAF theories. Now, I do like, and I do have to point out that Markiplier's friend or brother, I can't remember which, brought up this idea that Afton was creating these animatronics in the style of his family, and that Ballora is in part a part of the family, and then there's Baby, which is his daughter. We can assume the mask might be him, but what if he is the father of the kid who died in the Springtrap suit? And to be honest, that would be where I would approach if I were trying to prove why Afton made a robot that would kill you. But hey, again, just food for thought. Just think about it while you're making some theories. Thank you guys for watching. Wolfie out.